What's good, everyone? This is Justin Justroc Rimon from the Justroc Podcast, where elevation is our recreation. Super excited for you to check out our next episode as it features yours truly for the 100th episode milestone. You heard that right, the first time ever on the Justroc Podcast, where you get to hear all the questions I ask of all the guests, flip back on me, and more. For this landmark conversation, I asked my big bro, Jonathan Flores, aka Juan the Don, aka the Brown Naturalist, to do me the honor. He is also the big boss dog over at Outdoor Adventures Plus and the founder of Nature's Palette and the Urban Youth Nature Project. We chatted about so much. We dove into my first hiking memories, how an accidental sunset hike at Sandstone Peak changed my life, the genesis of the Justroc crew and the Justroc podcast, what it meant to me personally to reach the 100 episode milestone, my top trails in California, how I traversed from the hip hop dance community to the outdoor community and the impact that it had on my life, hiking hacks and outdoor tips, and the one outdoor experience I would relive all over again. In addition to this YouTube video version you're watching right now, we have an audio version available on Apple Podcasts and a video and audio version available on Spotify. You can find those links in the description. All right, let's get to trekking and get into this episode.
Today we're flipping the script for the 100th episode of the Justroc podcast. We're putting the spotlight exactly where it belongs on the man who built this whole thing from the ground up. He's more than a host. He's a community builder, a trailblazer, a voice in the outdoor world whose impact stretches far beyond the mic. He's the heart behind the Justroc crew, a leader who's guided countless adventures onto new peaks, literally and figuratively, from planning unforgettable events to curating spaces where people feel welcomed, seen, and inspired. He pours everything he has into this community. But above all of that, he's my friend, he's my brother, someone whose passion, consistency, and love for the outdoors has transformed lives, including my own. So today, we're turning the tables, and he's done 100 episodes celebrating other people's journeys, stories, and passions. Now it's time to honor his. So welcome to this special reverse episode featuring the one and only Justin Justroc Rimon, leader and host of the Justroc podcast and crew. So let's dive into this story behind the storyteller himself. How's it feel, brother?
Why do you got to get me all in the feels right off the bat, Juan? I'm already like, man, behind these sunglasses, that was a very, I felt that. Thank you. That was special to hear that.
Well, for those of you who don't know this landscape, we're at a very special place that's a part of both of our journeys. We'll reflect a little bit on that pertaining to the host here, to Justin's story. But yeah, this place holds a very dear and special place in my heart as well. We're in the Santa Monica Mountain Range at Sandstone Peak. Well, actually a little bit right below it. How does it feel to be back basically where it started for you? Because when you look at, I have a shirt, and on the back of that shirt it says, with a plaque up at Sandstone Peak, what does it say again?
At the very top of the plaque, reading True North.
Reading True North. And obviously you read True North, and it led you to starting the Justroc crew, as well as starting this podcast. And now you're back 100 episodes in. How does it feel?
Man, it's kind of a trippy and surreal moment. We did the hike up to the peak, Sandstone Peak, and then we descended here near the stairs that go up to the peak, and man, the time has flown. When you're working on a passion project for so long and you're just like putting your head to the ground and grinding on it, it really is such a trip how the time flies, and you're like celebrating anniversaries, and now you're celebrating 100 episodes, this being the 100th episode recording. I didn't know what this journey was going to entail or how long I was going to keep it going. I just remember when I was doing my research on starting a podcast, They said the majority of podcasters stop after 10.
Wow.
So I've reached the 100th, which is tenfold of that. And I
Wh-
honestly feel like I've recorded more than 100 because, as you know, my episodes are very long form. They're like hour and a half, 2.5 hours, sometimes 3 hours. So at times I'm like, it feels like these are 2 episodes each. But man, I feel at peace right now. It feels so special to be back. Like I was talking to you on the hike up. I haven't been back up here for a long time, maybe like 7 or 8 months. I know for you,
It's almost a year.
almost a year.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I haven't been back up here. I think I've just been showing love to some other trails and peaks, in the San Gabriels, maybe a little bit closer to me, more in like the Palisades side or like the middle of the Santa Monica Mountains. But I'm glad I held off to hike Sandstone Peak and be up here close to sunset hour and to hike with you. This is your first time actually hiking up the short route,
Yes, actually, it's
1.5 miles up.
yeah, it's definitely it's a butt kicker, but it wasn't that bad. For some reason, like I always said, going down always seems longer, but coming up it was actually a lot shorter. It
Wasn't
took
that
it,
bad?
I think it took us about an hour to get up here.
Yeah, with our heavy packs because we carried all
Yeah,
this podcasting equipment, these mobile camping chairs, the sign, the pop-up table, other things you can't see, the tripod.
yeah,
But to go back to your question, man, it's just grateful, just super grateful to be here with you, my big bro, one of my best friends in the community. A big part of why I love the whole Just Trek movement, whether it's the podcast or the hiking group, it's that it's connected me to such special individuals in the community, such as yourself, and you're one of them. I asked you to do the reverse episode of me. You were the one that came top of mind. I was like, it's only right to do it with Juan. He knows my journey from the ground up. You've listened, I think, to almost all the episodes. And I just feel like you get me. You get the podcast. You understand the stories. You know how much work I put into this.
I kind of want to just go over this 100 episodes, obviously, because there's a lot that goes into it. And I remember having conversations with you on the phone when we've talked, while I'm at while I'm at work and it's super loud. But we're sitting there and we're talking and like like the ebbs and flows that we go through when you start like you said, a passion project, right? The ups and downs and the the things that people don't see behind the scenes of what goes into preparing a podcast or curating an event, right? Or collaborating with such people such as myself or Vic from LA Trail Killers and like individuals in this community. Like people think, oh, we're just going to collaborate and then that's it. No, there's a lot more that goes into it. And you've even stated, like, man, like I don't know if I can keep doing this because there was so much work goes into it, right?
Mm.
And it kind of has you question sometimes, like, am, am I reaching anybody? So forth, so forth. So like, you're 100 episodes in. This is number 100, right? And on top of that, you've included Trails and Tribulations, which is a branch off of it, right?
Yeah,
And you
series
also,
within the
yeah, a
podcast.
series
Yeah.
within the podcast. And you also have your Trek Talks that you started introducing too, with other key individuals in the community. Basically, kind of like just catch up, episodes. But like going back to the beginning, right?
Mm.
Like, what what was it that sparked that? You know what? I want to do this.
Yeah, I launched the Just Strike podcast at the height of the pandemic. It was a pandemic project. It was a really scary, eerie time. It was a time when businesses started closing down. We didn't know what was happening with the world. I just always remember, they were starting to close down our local trails, parks, mountainscapes, and I didn't know you could close the outdoors down. When they started closing down all the trails, it was just like, what? Like, I'm gonna go crazy. This is immensely depressing, just as everyone else felt that.
Hmm.
That does any kind of outdoor recreation on our local trails. And I was just like, man, like I don't know how I'm gonna survive this pandemic because I turned to the outdoors and the trails for so much, to improve my physical fitness, to improve my mental health, to get mental clarity. it just has so many benefits for me, whether I do it solo or in a group. It's also community for me.
Mm-hmm.
So that spark was the pandemic, as I'm sure so many other people's projects and companies or small businesses, bloomed within that time because you were trying to find something to pour your creativity into or your soul into. And that's what it was for me. It was like, man, if I can't be in the outdoors, exploring our trails, exploring these peaks, I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to share my hiking and outdoor transformation and also amplify the voices of people I've met along the way.
Mm-hmm.
Friends of mine who also are hikers, people that inspire me that I follow on social media. So it was the pandemic back in 2020 because I launched the podcast on my actual birthday, March 31st, 2020. And I was like, man, I got to launch this thing because I gotta pour my soul into something or else I don't know I'm going to get through this dark period of the great unknown during that time.
Yeah. And it's true with creatives, right? There's no, you get antsy. There's no standstill. You constantly have to like be pouring into something basically in order to, to keep yourself busy and whatnot. And obviously you did that with the podcast. You did that with the Gesture crew. So you're how many years in with the podcast already? It's 6 years, right?
Almost 5.5.
Okay, so five and a
Yeah.
half with the podcast and the Gesture crew,
We hit 6 years
6 years. Oh, that's right. So
this past
the
August.
Gesture crew came first, and then it was the podcast.
Correct. Yeah, Just
Okay.
Trek Crew was August 2019, and then Just Trek Podcast was March 31st, 2020.
Wow, man, and look how far you've come from your first episode with it was Mark Nieto, right?
Mark Nieto, my childhood friend from Baltimore, Maryland, the one that I actually first started hiking with, and is the same person that I first discovered Sandstone Peak accidentally during sunset.
So Mark Nieto, and you go down, further. You have Traverse Outdoors,
RJ Surya.
RJ, RJ Soria.
Yeah, he was the first. He was like episode 7 or 8. He was in the first 10.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
you have Daisy,
Elements of Daisy.
Elements of Daisy. Then you keep going down the line. You've had Machete Matt, and,
Matt Kerr, my crewmate.
and then you start getting deeper into your catalog, and you have Mary.
Mary Forgione.
Yeah, you say
Formerly
it a lot better.
Forgione.
Forgione, right? And she was LA Times, the Wild writer, right?
Yeah, she was the original editor of The Wild, and also she was the writer at the LA Times for the most tenured one who wrote about the outdoors and travel.
And then Chris Hazard, the hiking guy. Everybody knows the hiking guy, right? I mean, he was a very key role in the way we plan, looking at his, step-by-step trail information on his blog and everything. And then you also had Casey Schreiner.
I got to tell you something about Chris Hazard, hiking guy, and actually Casey as well, which was probably one of the most remotivating things ever and just got me so amped on keeping the podcast going. I don't know if a lot of people know this or much people at all. I got a random email from Chris Hazard, and he basically said, I guess he saw what I was doing, the podcast was circulating, and he cold emailed me and said, hey, I'd be down for a conversation if you're up to it. Something along those lines. And I was like,
So like you didn't have to reach out to him. He reached out to you.
That's when I was like,
wow.
no way. That's when I was like, Justin, you are on the right path. Keep it going no matter how you feel, because there's been so many times where I feel like I'm just talking into the abyss and you don't really know how many people are listening. I mean, yeah, you see the metrics and the analytics, but sometimes people DM you that they've heard it and give you feedback. A lot of times you don't hear anything.
Yeah.
And so when I saw that message, and even Casey Schreiner too, like I remember, we would DM back and forth. For people not familiar, Casey Schreiner is the founder of Modern Hiker. But I mean, both these individuals are massive in my outdoor hiking journey in terms of like trail exploration, feeling prepared, finding new places to explore and hike. Like even him too, he was getting familiar with my work. He also saw that I had a pod, and I think we were DMing, and he also said something along the lines of like, hey, I'd be down to be on your pod too.
Well, the crazy thing is too, like not too long after that, you guys actually hosted a trek here.
Oh my God, that's right. That might have been one of the most special like podcast group hiking moments ever, just because it touched so many points, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's because of Casey Schreiner, founder of Modern Hiker, is how I discovered Sandstone Peak. It's
Hmm.
his blogs, it's his website, and then doing the podcast with him, I was already like so nervous, like
Yeah.
I was like, man, I got to come correct and come proper, having this conversation or interviewing this guy. I want to show him I'm the real deal. And then I think a few months after we released this episode, we did a group hike to Sandstone Peak via the Mishimako Trail, which is both of our trail.
Hmm.
That's also his favorite trail of all time.
Yeah.
Like his blog and article about this trail, man, it's just like poetry. I'll never forget that day. We didn't do it for sunset, but we did it in the morning and we had such a solid group. That was like, I remember like he was just talking at the trailhead at the parking lot and I was like, is this real? Like this is the guy that inspired me to follow this or to discover this trail. And he's also like this LA Times bestselling author. And he's like this like, you put people on a pedestal at times.
Yeah.
Like his work is very expansive. He's probably one of the internet's oldest hiking blogs, outdoor blogs. So I was just like, as I was hiking with him, I let him lead the way that day. And he was also like a bit of a naturalist too, breaking
Yeah.
down, the different plants and shrub we were going by. And I was like, man, this is so crazy right now. Just one of those moments where you're like, you never knew like a project or a passing project would lead you to some of these moments. And you're just like, damn, this is wild.
Well, that's what I said. Your catalog is so huge. Like every episode, um, you know, you've had so many different people on. They all have that story to tell, where their journey started outdoors, and it's always been one of those things that have always. I think that's what drew me to it to begin with. And it's funny the way I came about your podcast because. Um,
How did you discover the podcast?
so the funny thing is, during 2020 pandemic, right? Outdoors are shut down. We can't do anything. You can't go hiking. So I resorted back to YouTube, and YouTube was my go-to of looking up videos, looking up people, um, and basically just looking at their point of view of a trail that they're doing, or just the cinematic way of doing stuff and whatnot. And the next thing you know, I was like, Josh Trek. I was like, what's that? And what caught my attention was the logo, right? The
Mm.
the, the compass with the mountain that's ingrained at the bottom of it.
Thank
And
you
I
for
was like,
noticing that. Yeah, it's a north pointing compass arrow inside of a mountain.
well, I'm artistic myself, so when I see things, I was like, oh, that is dope. I was like, all right, so I hit, I went on, visit the channel, and I was looking at your stuff, and it was a vlog that you did doing Half Dome.
Wow, you went back into the
So
archives.
I was like going back, and I remember just started to watch your videos. You even had one where you were in Mexico, I think, at one point.
Puerto
Yeah,
Vallarta.
so you were doing like this wild stuff. I was like, this dude seems cool. And then at the end of your video, it said you had an Instagram. And I was like, oh, okay. So I went and I typed your handle in and popped up, and I followed you. And then little by little, I started going through your feed. And I'm not stalking or anything. I was just like admiring, right?
Lurking.
And then I saw that you had a podcast, and I was like, whoa. So I went on Spotify and I checked that, and I was like, okay. And I started listening, and look, I'm here today.
You're the
with
one interviewing me.
we're interviewing you today, and it's crazy, right? That turnaround to be here with you, to like you said, you're my friend, my little bro in this community, and I've met so many great people through your platform as well that I too call friends and family as well. And yeah, just to be here is surreal. But yeah, I mean, 100 episodes. I'll keep reiterating that because it's definitely a milestone, and it is definitely something to be celebrated. And you deserve to be celebrated. So it's me here giving you your flowers for just basically, like I said, inspiring people and sharing the stories of people, even giving me the opportunity to do so as well.
Yeah,
Because
you've been on the podcast twice now.
yeah, and you get a lot out of it. You hear people's mental health struggles and how they revert and they go to the outdoors to find solitude, to find peace, to basically either rediscover themselves, their journey, whatever it may be, and that's all done through each episode, on the podcast. And like like I said, you can go down each episode, and everyone's story is different. You're never gonna get the same thing, um, because everyone's journey is always different, and in a sense, each episode is pointing to that true north, to whoever's listening to that episode, and can relate to that person. You know, so yeah, just giving your flowers, man. Kudos and congratulations. It's definitely an achievement, man.
My brother. Damn, thank you so much. Thank God I made those vlogs, or who would have known if you would have discovered Just Trek.
So now that I got the floor right, I'm the one in charge, somewhat. I want to get into what was your first hiking memory?
Oof. You know, I've been on a few podcasts, and how I've typically answered it is, I mentioned like the first hikes I did in the Santa Monica Mountains in Malibu, which I will bring up. But, I was a neighborhood kid in Baltimore, Maryland. My hikes were exploring the woods. Like Maryland is known for a lot of like deep forests and woods. Like a lot of our neighbors' backyards are the woods. So, although I guess at that time it wasn't something where I was like thinking I was hiking or that I was seeking nature. Like, I just think back, yeah, like I was a neighborhood kid. If you were a neighborhood kid back in the day, I'm an '80s baby, so like you were outdoors.
Yeah,
You were just
definitely.
being a mischievous kid out in the woods, hanging with your friends, going to the family picnics at the local parks. So those were really like my first like hiking slash outdoor memories. But man, I guess the fast forward, I guess I would say my first true hiking memory that's so like embedded in my mind is it was Coral Canyon. It was back in April 2017. And the way I discovered that was the Modern Hiker blog
Hmm.
by Casey Schreiner. I just literally typed in best hikes in Malibu, and that was one of the first websites that popped up. I was like, oh, cool. Like, this is near the beach. It's in Malibu. I'd never been this far up Malibu. And at that time, I was like going through like a really rough patch in my life. I had, prior to me being in the outdoor space hiking community, I was in the dance world. I was in the hip hop breaking community, and that was literally who I was for such a long time. Like how a lot of you see me in the outdoor space is what I was in the dance world, dance community, producing events, battling, performing. I was even a talent manager for a group that won MTV's America's Best Dance Crew. Shout out to IME crew, forever, forever and always. But to get back to my first hiking memory, like at that time, you know, I was just yearning for something different because I stopped dancing and something physical that could complement me going to the gym, something on the weekends that I could just like feel like I was traveling almost, something that felt fresh and new. And I've been in LA for a long time, so the thought just popped into my mind like, I've never hiked our local trails or really noticed the mountains that always were in the distance when I was in Venice Beach or Santa Monica, or if I was in downtown LA, the San Gabriel's in the backdrop. And I'll never forget, man. I went with Mark Nieto. I said, hey, man, like, you want to go on a hike? Like, it's a place called Coral Canyon. There's apparently a seafood spot literally right next to the trailhead called Malibu Seafood Shack.
Oh, yeah, I remember. That's where we went. Yeah,
And if you're from Baltimore or you're from Maryland, we're big on our seafood, especially crabs,
yeah.
crab cakes, and just seafood in general. So I think Mark was like super on board when I was like, hey, there's a seafood spot literally at the trailhead. So I just remember that day, like I looked crazy, man. I'm gonna just say it, my outfit that day looked wild. I looked like a cholo. I had like these high socks. I had like the craziest mustache with I shaved everything else on my face, like the sideburns. I had this hat. I had these big black circular sunglasses. I looked like straight out the city and a tank top. Not a white tank top, but a tank top.
Yeah.
And I remember that first like half mile starting the Coral Canyon hike. It was so unbelievably beautiful because there was wildflowers, I guess the yellow dandelions
Hmm.
that were like overgrown on the path almost. So
Oh,
even just the first like 5-10 minutes of the hike, we're going up this incline. I never used all trails at this time or anything. I didn't know anything about navigation. I just saw it was like a 2-mile hike. And I just remember going up this hill covered by these beautiful yellow wildflowers. And then I look back and it was just a tunnel of yellow that just stretched all the way out to the ocean and the beach. And I was like, this is hiking? This is dope. This is really cool. Okay, like, and I'm sharing this with my friend, and there's other people on the trail that look like they're having a good time. And I remember finally got to the top of the hill after like maybe 15 minutes, and both of our breaths were just taken away. We're like, wow, this Pacific Ocean, the beautiful flowers, this beautiful seafood shack down below that we're gonna grub at. I remember we got to the top, or what we thought was the top. We got lost.
oh
And this is
wow.
such a beginner hike.
Yeah.
Like, we kept going further back and we saw a few turns that went in a few different directions or splits. And I remember looking at Mark, I was like, I don't know where we are. I don't know if we need to go this way or down that way. Should we just turn around? Because we can see the parking lot.
Yeah.
We can just go back down the same way we came. So yeah, that was our first, that was my first hike. We turned around this steep hill, went back through the flowers, and ate at the Malibu Seafood Shack. And we stuffed our face with fish and chips and like fried seafood. It was glorious. And then after that, I actually told Mark, hey, there's this other amazing place that I had been to like a while back that a good friend of mine brought me to called Point Doom. So in that same day, we also drove up to Point Doom, which was maybe like 5 minutes away or less than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And Point Doom, if you're not familiar out there, listeners, Just Trek fam, man, that area is gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
Gorgeous bluffs,
And
wildlife.
and it's recommended to go at sunset. Okay.
Yeah.
Sunsets on just on this coast alone, it's unforgettable. So yeah, just to throw that in there.
Yeah, it's a winner. I mean, it's a reason why we hosted one of the Nature's Palette event series there, where you were
Yes.
the naturalist identifying, and then I was helping curate, the route and whatnot. But yeah, so my first hiking memory was actually two. In that one day back in April 2017, I was hiking a portion of Coral Canyon and then driving up to Point Doom and going down to the secluded beaches. I'll never forget, I gotta bring this up. There was this, I don't know if it was a seal or a sea lion, it plopped itself onto the beach and just started sunbathing. It just looked like a model. And then in this area, there's also like sometimes a lot of like, not a lot, but you'll see people doing like photo shoots like models. And one of these models decided to try to pet the seal or the sea lion, and it almost bit her. And I was like, what is going on, y'all? Like, even I know not to do that, and I'm not even a hiker at this point.
Yeah.
I'm just like out here exploring. Like, why'd you do that? You could have got your hand bitten off. And I just always remember that moment, and then showed Mark like the top of the bluffs and just more of like the scenery, like around the coast, like not down at the beach, but like high above.
Yeah.
And then yeah, that was like my first hiking memory.
Yeah. So, I mean, would you say that moment or that day precisely? How did you know that was going to become, or did you know that was going to become a big part of your outdoor journey moving forward?
Yeah, so it wasn't those hikes, but those hikes that day definitely warmed me up to the idea of, okay, this hiking thing is cool. Let me keep going down this path and see what else is out there. The moment, it's actually very clear in my mind that I knew that hiking and getting outdoors and spending extensive time in nature was going to become like a major part of my identity moving forward was the accidental sunset hike here at Sandstone Peak a few weeks later after doing the hike at Coral Canyon and Point Doom.
Okay.
How did I discover that hike? Casey Schreiner, the modern hiker. And I remember reading the blog of that, and it said, tallest peak in the Santa Monica Mountains, stands at 3,014 feet. I was like, ooh, it's the tallest one? You're quickly enamored by
Yeah.
these superlatives. Oh, it's the tallest mountain in the mountain range. I want to do that. And I saw it was only 3 miles. I was like, oh, so it's just 1.5 miles up. I don't got to hike like 10, 20 miles to reach the tallest peak out here.
Yeah.
And so I brought Mark Nieto along. And, we were such newbies, man. Like, we came here so late. I think we arrived at the trailhead around like 2 or 3 p.m. or maybe even 4 p.m. and we did the hike via the short route, like what we did today,
Yeah.
1.5 miles up from the parking lot trailhead.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I'll tell you, we were getting close to the top of Sandstone Peak, and there was like this rock scramble route. I didn't know it was a rock scramble route at that time, but it was like an offshoot steep route that went directly to the peak instead of the gradual switchbacks that go up,
Oh,
right?
that's the one that you were showing me at that.
Correct,
that
yeah.
turnoff.
Because what we're next to, or where we're recording near, is like near the stairs.
Yeah.
What back there when I pointed at that route, that's the route that I went up when I first did Sandstone Peak.
Got it.
And it was sunset hour, like the sun was setting. And I finally got high enough to the point where I was almost at the peak, but it was like this portion of the mountainside where I could like sit down. And I sat down and I looked out, and there was just this infinite mountain layers. It just felt like the whole world was glowing. And I just sat down and I just had the most like profound feeling come over like my being. Like everything went like still. I felt a stillness that I hadn't felt before in so long. Like a stillness that said everything's gonna be okay. Like you're right where you need to be. Because at that time, I told you I was going through a rough patch in my life. I was going through a deep depression,
Yeah.
not dancing, for many years, along with many other things, all mixed in. A big like
Like a big hodgepodge.
hodgepodge of
Yeah,
like life,
events
of
and stuff.
life,
Yeah.
lifing,
Yep.
and just how you feel about yourself and how you perceive yourself. And it was like on that side of the peak, not even at the peak yet. I was just like, man, life is so beautiful right now. I was just like, it felt like everything in my mind just like started rewiring. And then I finally reached the peak, and I was like, are you kidding me? Like 360 panoramic views, Pacific Ocean, mountain peaks galore, all in the distance. You can see the San Gabriels in the distance, infinite mountain layers in the distance. And I was like, this is unreal. I feel nowhere near Los Angeles. I feel like I'm in another country.
Yep.
And I know that Mark felt the same way too. And it was up there in my mind, Juan. And it was such a strong epiphany actually. It was at that point when I reached Sandstone Peak that I said in my mind, Justin, you're a hiker. You're an explorer.
That's crazy. And this is the most perfect spot to have that epiphany. If you guys have never been here, I mean, right now we went up to the peak, and we look off to the east of the peak. You can see Catalina in the distance. Obviously being covered by the marine layer. You look off to the west, northwest kind of, and you have the Channel Islands, same way, being covered by that marine layer. But then just the geography of this place, right? And I could see why we always continue to come back to this place and always want to curate things and bring people with us because, and believe me, I remember this was the first place on a group hike that you were leading with a different group, was where I met Sergio. You
Ah,
know,
yes. Shout out
yeah,
Sergio,
Sergio.
Trail Threads.
And just before meeting him, I had a conversation with him on the lives that I host, and it was for Mental Health Awareness Month. And he opened up and he said he was game to do the live, and it's crazy because then you make that connection when you actually meet those people, right? In the same way that you made that connection with people out on the trail and stuff. And it just goes to show you when you curate something, and not necessarily for, like, you're curating it for everyone, but then in those moments of where people are like, they just make that connection, and you're like, wow, like, I needed that. So kind of on that basis, what was it that told you, right? You said you had that epiphany here, and
I
what?
also got to say the other epiphany, or maybe it's not an epiphany, but on top of me being like, I'm a hiker, I'm an explorer when I reached the peak, it was on that day when I swear to God, I really felt like I climbed out of my depression.
Yep.
Literally, figuratively, like
Mm-hmm.
it was just so trippy. I was like, I climbed this peak. I feel so different about myself. I can feel my brain rewiring itself to like I'm building myself back up, reclaiming myself, you know. And man, it was just like, damn, like I think I'm really climbing out of this depression and hole I was in for a while.
Yeah. And and it definitely is because, one of the things that I've mentioned and I've shared with people is the fact that we go through valleys of life, right? And you know, we endure the struggle going up. Once out of that valley, you start your climb, and in life, and you're climbing and climbing and climbing, and you get to the top, and a lot of people just tend to think that when I get to the top of that peak, I've made it. But what people don't realize is you still have to come back down, and you have to come back to reality and have to deal with life again. But the crazy thing is that what people don't know is in the valley is where you're made. When you're going through
Mm,
everything and you're making that ascent, right? Up to that to life's peak, that's the epitome. That's like the I'm here, I'm there, I'm making this statement, right? Like, okay, I've overcome this in life. Now on to the next thing. And it's like that throughout your life. We're always going to go through the ebbs and flows of life. We're always going to be going up and down and slogging through the valley. But in the valley is where you're made. And when you're at that peak, you can look back at that valley and be like, yeah, I made it through it. And you come back
preach.
down. But it's like what you said, you came out of that depression, you reclaimed yourself, and obviously in reclaiming yourself, something told you that, you know what, I want to bring other people along for this journey. So like kind of get into the background of like what made you start the Just Trek crew, and get into like the fact, obviously, a lot of people, I understand it, when you say the Just Trek crew, because I was in the hip hop scene myself.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was a
yeah.
pop locker in the hip hop scene, as well as in, doing graffiti in the hip hop scene, and so I understand it. So kind of give people a little bit of background of like why you chose that, but also like where it was where you decided I want to bring people out here and basically curate things for them to enjoy as well.
Yeah, sure. I mean, specifically, it had to be that word crew because of my background prior to being in the outdoor scene.
Yeah.
You know, prior to starting Just Trek, the podcast, and the crew, you know, I was in the dance world, the hip hop breaking community. And when I was in that scene, in that community, I was a part of different hip hop dance crews,
Hmm.
or specifically breaking crews. So I always had this crew mentality. I was in like three different dance crews. I think one was called Diamonds in the Rough, another one the Militia, another one Battle Snakes, and we would battle. We would perform at my college. We would travel over the U.S. and represent and battle different crews from all over the country. Like it was a whole other life I had,
Yeah.
and so coming from that life and that scene, also a lot of people don't know breaking is like the original hip hop dance. Just want to put it out there for
Yeah.
y'all, educate you. So since I had this crew mentality and I had been a part of many dance crews, when I started the hiking, even just for myself or just with a few friends, I was like, I gotta start a crew, but it's got to be this time in the outdoors, like
Yeah.
sharing, these trails, these beautiful landscapes and destinations, and showing them how beautiful our own backyard is here in Southern California, And I just remember, like, as I was doing hikes such as Sandstone Peak and, Murphy's Ranch, and then, discovering more hikes in the San Gabriel Mountains, I was like, wow, like, we have some insane nature scenery out here in Southern California. Like, I had no clue. Like, obviously, we have the beaches.
Yeah.
That's what we're known for the most, right? Gorgeous
Yep.
beaches up and down the coast. But that's easily accessible. You just drive up, and that's where most people bonfire or party. I think because my hiking journey began in April 2017. So I think about a year and a half, 2 years in, I was like, I think it's time to make a group, make a crew. And I was just getting so excited about the idea, of like having a group of individuals, and repping a new name and
Hmm.
representing ourselves and helping each other out and being encouraging, and also me just showing like my friends or like new people like the wondrous trails and landscapes we have here.
Yeah.
That was the mindset behind wanting to start a hiking group, was coming from the dance world.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what, I think it's time. And my local hike near me is the Culver City Stairs. 282 stone steps. It is a leg buster. It is very short, but if you don't
I
pace
hate that.
yourself, you will pass out, like straight
So
up.
forsaken. Yeah. I don't.
And then when you reach the top, it's the Baldwin Hills Scenic Overlook. It's kind of like our version of Runyon Canyon, but in
I
West
see.
LA,
Yeah.
or like our side of town, right?
Yeah.
And the first iteration of the Just Trek, or what those group hikes looked like, was sunset group hikes at the Culver City Stairs, and we did that for several months. And then after that was fun, like it was really rad to see people suffering up those steps, even though it was a short route. And then I was just like, I want to bring people further out. I want to bring them to the deep in the Santa Monica Mountains. Started bringing friends to like Parker Mesa Overlook, via Los
Yeah.
Leones, Temescal Canyon, eventually Sandstone Peak, and Bridge to Nowhere. Just started bringing people further out, like an hour out, hour and a half out from like the main parts of the
Yeah.
city. So I guess you could say we graduated from like the Culver City Stairs. Not that there was nothing wrong with it. It was just like I wanted to spend like now those weekends like venturing further, and so that people can get familiar with their local trails and landscapes. That was the first iteration of the Just Trek crew, was those sunset group hikes of the Culver City Stairs, and now we've been all over Southern California, and also
Eastern
up north in
Sierras.
the Eastern Sierras, different national parks, Death Valley,
Yeah.
Yosemite, countless other places too. And it's just really special to share these places with others. Although I love my solo hikes oh so much, you really truly get to escape the noise and focus on you and what you're going through in life, or just get out there and just go at your own pace. Like, to share these landscapes with others, just it hits different.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's part of like the origin story of like starting like the hiking group, and that's its own like entity and project too. I started the podcast after, but like the hiking group has been so like just as impactful,
Yeah.
because like when I host these group hikes, they don't necessarily know I have a podcast, so then they might know I have a podcast,
Yeah.
and it works vice versa. I have a podcast, and now they find out I do group hikes.
Yeah.
That's how Cali Tanker Santos found out about me, and
Yeah.
many others. They're like, "Hey, I listened to your pod, and then you started promoting group hikes on your podcast," and I had no clue. So I decided to join you on a
Yeah.
random group hike.
And that's why I said, man, like you like there's so many people you meet in this community via that podcast, right? And Santos is one of them, Sergio's another. I mean, there's so many people. We could literally go down a list of people and be here all night, maybe even into the morning, like describing to you like all these people that you meet.
I got to give a shout out real
Yeah.
quick because I know it's his birthday coming up. Sal Jaguar Hikes. He
Yeah.
was one of my first friends in the hiking community out here. Hiking Lotus Flower to Dora.
Yeah.
There's other people I'm blanking out on, but like those are
Jesse-
some of my
Jesse
first
from
friends.
Midweek Hiker, Jesse.
Yeah, midweek hikers, Jesse Fernandez, Elisa. There's so many who have like introduced me into that scene even before I started the hiking crew.
Yeah.
I think Sal from Jaguar Hikes actually brought me to my first like actual community group hike, where I met people that I followed on Instagram before I started the Just Trek crew, if I'm remembering correctly. Oh my God, I completely forgot about a hiking group that massively inspired me and starting the group. It was a group called LA Hike Club.
Oh, I do remember you telling me about them.
A lot of people don't know this about my journey. I used to join this hiking group called LA Hike Club back in the day, and it was founded by three wonderful women. I think they were also LMU alums, Loyola Marymount
Okay.
University. It was Andrea. God, don't hate me if y'all are listening. There's two others. There's a blonde girl, and then there's a brunette. It's like Maple Laser on Instagram. I'm blanking out on the blonde. I'm so sorry. It'll come back to me. I'll just shout out your name randomly. But three wonderful women, and they just threw the dopest community group hikes. Like, I just remember, I think I was doing Temescal Canyon or Solstice Canyon, and I just saw a big group coming down the trail, and they all had blue hats, and it said "doing things," and I was like, "Are you guys a group or something? Like a tourist group?"
Yeah.
So "doing things" is the tagline of a brand they were collaborating with called Outdoor Voices,
Okay.
and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're a hiking group, LA Hike Club. Yeah, look us up." And I was like, "Okay." And a few weeks later, I just started joining all their group hikes, man. I went to Eaton Canyon with them first. I did the Enchanted Forest in Griffith Park with them. They would host, like, they had the Malibu Wine Safari group hike. They even had off-trail stuff where you're doing like skating parties. And it was from LA Hike Club where I actually, now that I'm digging back into my memory, because I just feel like I forget about a lot of these things now, like where I was like, man, like this, the Just Trek crew could look maybe something like this.
Yeah.
And they were pulling large crowds too, you know, like 30 plus, 40 plus, 50 plus, really dope individuals I was always meeting on all these group hikes, who also like had really cool projects and brands going on too. And I got to show them love just because like they were a big part of me starting the Just Trek crew, because the way they organized and curated and also involved like really cool brands to elevate the experience of these community events, I was just so impressed. Because a big part of my background is I've been an event producer, event organizer for a very long time for different companies, for myself, and also for different brands as well.
Yeah. And yeah, while we're on that note, there are people that you look at and they're like, you have to give them, you know, their flowers too. In this realm of the outdoors, you look up to people and you admire them. You've been one of those people that I look up to too, you know, in the way that you curate things, in the way that you host things, you know. And I've been fortunate enough with Outdoor Adventures Plus to be able to curate things as well and collaborate with you, you know. And we've collaborated on several, you know, hikes in this vicinity, right? You
So
know,
many iconic
and
ones.
and the one and I need to get to this too because, you know, Justin just doesn't stop with the hiking part of it. He also does. He includes the summit ciphers, and
That's right. How could I not bring that up? Oh my
and it's
goodness.
funny because it happened the first time with me in March of 2021 when we celebrated our first year. And we celebrated doing Temescal Peak, Will Rogers Loop. It was like 15 miles round
Why was it
trip.
so long that
So
day?
long.
I was like, man, this guy likes to put in some mileage. I'm like,
But the crazy thing is, that's where I met Matt, you know, the first time. Justin brought him with, and Justin joined us on our 1 year anniversary.
Machete Matt.
And we went up to the peak. We came down, and as soon as we came down, Matt disappears, and I'm like, "What is going on?" I was like, "Where did this guy go?" I was like, "Man, I can't." I was like, "I need to go down with everybody that we came up with." And someone's like, "Oh, we saw him go over the, you know, over the hill." I said, "Okay." So I went over it and I looked, and sure enough, he's over there scouting an area as flat that he could find that was flat. And I was like, "What are you doing?" He's all, "We're gonna have a summit cipher." I said, "What?" I said, "What are you talking about?" So he explained it to me, and then eventually I saw it. I was a part of it. Diego was a part of it.
That's right. It was next to Cathedral Peak or
Yes, it
that
was.
area.
Yep. And
Should we explain what a summit cipher is real
yeah,
quick?
go ahead, break it down.
Yeah, so what he's saying, the term summit cipher, so in the dance world or the breaking community, the word cipher is circle, dance circle. So we use the word summit cipher as like the alliteration of it, or it sounds
Yeah.
like alliteration, is like we form a circle at the top of the mountain or in an outdoor setting, and we all dance in that circle to celebrate life, to exchange energy, to showcase our skills, but more importantly, to just celebrate one another
Yeah.
in this beautiful like landscape. So that is what the Summit Cipher concept is: a dance circle in the mountains, out in nature. And I can't forget like that Summit Cipher next to Cathedral Peak within the Temescal Canyon general area. You and Diego were just looking at me and Matt like we were crazy, because we were like, yo, come in, like we're filming it, we're gonna record too, like
Yep.
get in here, just do whatever dance style that you do, no one's judging, just be yourself. And we still have that footage up. I think it's
Yeah,
on
we
YouTube.
still have it. It's on YouTube.
It's a vibe.
I got it on YouTube on our channel, and then I also have it. Obviously, if you dig through the archives of all the
Yeah.
posts, it's there. Yeah, you can see it, and eventually we'll share it again. But that in itself, I mean, it was just one of the coolest things because I'm like, he still has the mentality, not only of an outdoor lead, but he also still has that b-boy mentality of converging both these styles, both of these two cultures, right?
Two
Um,
completely different
Two
cultures.
completely different cultures, but bringing it outdoors in the setting and being a part of it was like one of the coolest things ever. And I think later on, I don't know if it was later that year, we finally made our first collaboration happen. We did a hike to, what was it?
Saddle Peak.
Saddle Peak, and we finished with a Summit Cipher um, at
Sunset.
Sunset Summit Cipher at the Topanga Overlook. So, and the footage to that is just ridiculous too. I was like, man, you got so many things, and you have so many core of those memories. I mean, and you've continued it. You guys,
We've been lazy. We
yeah,
haven't been doing it
but I mean,
lately.
you've done it at Sunset Peak, and you hit all these other places. But to converge both cultures together, it's like it's amazing. And if you ever are able to be a part of it, like just don't be shy. Just be yourself, and yeah, just join it. Like it's it's a different kind of high, I guess, in a sense, right? The Just Trek crew.
That's how we first started getting known. Was those Summit Cipher dance content. Even till this day, people are like, I think I've seen like footage of you and your group like dancing on top of the mountains. Like that's how the Just Track crew really started making a name for itself in the hiking and outdoor community. Cause like we're actually like hardcore dancers in different styles.
Yep.
Popping, breaking, housing, voguing, other styles as well too. Because a lot of people in the group happen to be dancers or former dancers
Exactly.
that are hiking with us.
Yeah.
Because I had a hard time at first, like finding new people to hike with. So I would literally nag and bother my dance friends. And then eventually I found people in the community to hike with as well who were also just hikers, right? But yeah, like I was just recruiting dancers from the dance world at one point.
I mean, yeah, I mean, you got Jet, right?
Just Jet,
Just Jet.
Jenny
and
Baez,
Jenny Baez.
Machete Matt.
Machete Matt. On top of that, Mark Nieto.
He's the one who actually taught me how to break.
There you go. And then you. I know Summer has joined on some of the collaborations and stuff, and
Yes.
even on that trek too to Topanga. I mean, the footage on that, like I said, is ridiculous, right? Getting drone footage of that area while everyone's dancing at the top of that overlook was just like surreal, and then to cap it off with that sunset. Like I said, the sunsets in the Santa Monica Mountains, you'll never be disappointed.
You're going to get one right now.
Yep. But to kind of touch on that, right? You talk about people like who was the first core group?
The first core group was Mark Nieto, who happened to be the same person who introduced me to breakdancing or breaking back in Baltimore, Maryland. He's like one of my closest family friends.
And that's the funny thing is that you introduced him to the outdoors.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm like, Mark, you're like at the genesis of like these foundational movements that changed my life. Like
Yeah.
he changed my life through getting me into breaking because he was like the really talented kid back in the East Coast doing like winning talent showcases. And then we really did the hiking thing together, but he was at the beginning of it.
Yeah.
And he was the only other person that I was hiking with those first few months. Like I don't know if I would have done it if I didn't have a friend to explore these places with. So Mark Nieto, Linda Don,
Okay.
who is the designer of the Just Trek logo, very close friend of mine. Who else joined us on those first group hikes? Geez. I mean, other people in the crew like Mark Feichel, he's a core member. I mean, there's so many core members. Just Jet, Jenny Baez, Matt. I've known Matt Kerr, Machete Matt from college. We go way back. He's one of my best friends. God, I'm trying to think who else is in the crew. There's
Abby.
Abby, Mark's now wife. It's Abby Feichel now.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Who are their core members? Mitchell Doomlau from Strife TV, my boy Daniel Zoo from Stance.
Yeah.
There's a bunch. Jaswell. Oh yeah, Jaswell. Mikey Wynn. Yeah, he's been down for a long time. He's we used to work together at this marketing agency, and he's been a core member for a while. He DJs a lot of our anniversaries, the Just Trek Crew anniversaries. But yeah, I'm gonna stop trying to name because I know I'm gonna just keep forgetting more people. But those are some of the names that come up right off the top. If I didn't mention you, I apologize. It's kind of a lot to think about at the moment, but yeah, those are some of the core people, and obviously each year, the core can change too
Yeah,
through the
definitely.
years. People, life happens, or they're into other things. Maybe they don't hike with you as much, and that's just the reality. So I want to say this to people who run hiking groups: not every year is going to be the same.
Nope.
You might have a different core, or maybe you might have most of the same core, and that's a beautiful thing to have. But just understand that every year can be a different cast. But as long as you stay true to the Trek game and stay true to the mission, that's all that matters.
Yeah. And one of the coolest things about that, right? Like I've joined your group hikes. We've collaborated on things, and you don't always see the same people, right? And
It's a mixture a lot of
and then
times,
there's
yeah.
times where I'm being introduced to other people. Like I met Jaswell, on a group hike. It was like a community cleanup group hike up to the helipad, I think. And I met Jazz on there, and like we hit it off like it was funny. I was already telling him, like, I was already trying to start beef between you and him, and trying to get you guys to battle.
Oh man,
and
he's a
stuff like
former
that.
B-boy too.
Yeah, and
Oh, other core members like Nikki Tran, Daniel O. Yeah, the list goes on and on.
yeah.
Pete
yeah,
Kang, Marta. Okay, I'm gonna stop now.
you started something from the ground up, man, and I'm proud of you, brother. Like, I will always cheer you on. Like I posted the other day, I'm one who always wants to see somebody win, and especially when they're your friends, they're your family. Like, even more so, you want to see them win. And dude, you keep winning in life every year that happens, every anniversary. For the Just Trek podcast to the Just Trek crew, like every year is a milestone. Every year you're getting closer, right? To that the 10-year mark, which is crazy, right?
Ridiculous.
But
Just ridiculous.
you know, in all of the stuff that we've talked about, and whatnot, I want people to know a little bit more about you, and like more about your outdoor journey. And I want you to let us know, like, what are your top 3 trails in California or outside of California, if you've, because I know you've gone to Colorado as well. You've
Yeah,
visited
yeah.
other places. What would be your top 3 trails in California, and why each one is your favorite?
Hardest question ever now that
So
it's
go
flipped on me.
3, 2, 1.
So we're gonna be contextual
Okay.
because I feel like a lot of people, if you listen to the podcast, you know what my top 3 trails are, or at least one of them.
Yeah.
Right. So I'll say at this very moment, everybody knows that Sandstone Peak via the Mishmako Trail during sunset, which is why we're here right now,
Yep.
why we chose to do this recording in this most special sacred setting, land of the Chumash tribe,
Yes.
is my all-time favorite over any trail in the entire country or just in the world. It holds so much sentimental meaning for me, Sandstone Peak. But I feel like a lot of you know that. So I want to give you guys some top trails that are really special to me at this moment.
Okay.
And I don't think you guys will be surprised, but I want to throw in some new nuggets in there. There is this trail I've been going to many times this year. I feel like it's been a bit of a Sandstone Peak kind of trail for me as of lately, and it's called Mesa Peak in the Santa Monica Mountains. Mesa Peak runs along the Backbone Trail. It's inside of Malibu Creek State Park.
Okay.
I think the trailhead that I start at is like Piuma, Piuma Road,
Okay.
Piuma Backbone Trail Road. And this trail is just so special. And the way I discovered this trail was Mary Forgione, one of my all-time favorite guests, former editor at the LA Times for The Wild and The Outdoors. She mentioned one of her top trails is Castro Peak.
Okay.
Castro Peak is in the general area of Mesa Peak. And Castro Peak, I guess to describe this area is like, think of Vasquez Rocks, the insane geology and rock landscapes there mixed in with like the greenery of the Santa Monica Mountains, right? But below Castro Peak, if you take that fire road down, there is this mesa-like peak called Mesa Peak.
Yeah.
And there is like this shed. It's like an equipment shelter, and there's it's like a green building,
Yeah.
and next to it is a solar panel. So it's like a very
okay.
unique, like kind of like little area around this peak. And like a little bit further down from that shed or that equipment shelter, I think that's where they do like maintenance, where they put a lot of outdoor equipment there to maintain the fire road.
Yeah.
There is this little overlook. There's a bench there now, but there used to not be a bench. And it just has the most sprawling views of the entire like Pacific Ocean. Like I can see Point Doom in the distance. I can see for some reason, this overlook, Mesa Peak, has so much like bird wildlife active. So many hawks in the sky, so many ravens. There's a canyon literally on the way up to Mesa Peak that is my favorite canyon because I can just gaze at all the birds in there all day. Like the crows and the ravens are playing tag or attacking each other. There's so many turkey vultures there. There's so many red-tailed hawks in that canyon.
Well,
like
look at you being a naturalist and identifying all your birds.
I learned from the best, right? You learn as you get older to appreciate what's actually happening out on the trails. But yeah, there's so many parts of Mesa Peak that just make it so special for me. And now there's a bench at this overlook, and it's just like, whenever I'm on that trail, there's barely anyone on it. And it feels like it's really just for you when you do that trail. And I want to say this, I don't think it's like a hike you do with like a big group. It's really a hike that you do by yourself, or you go with a small group of friends, like maybe like 5 people, 7 people, because that overlook is not very big.
Yeah.
And that there's only a bench there that probably holds like 3-4 people, but it feels like it's all to yourself. There's no one around. It's so silent. The mountain layers dipping down into the Pacific Ocean, me seeing Point Doom out in the distance. It's behind Pepperdine University, actually, if I'm giving more context to this. That area is just, man, it's so peaceful. It's so gorgeous. I love it there because it's also like a 5 to 6 mile route, 1,500 feet of elevation gain, so it's enough of a workout. The mileage is very like doable too. For a second and third, these aren't in any particular order. San Jacinto Peak. I know that's not a trail per se, but any of those trails leading up to San Jacinto Peak and Palm Springs, I'm just so in love with that peak, man. Like, it's such a rarity to have a desert alpine peak.
Yep.
You know, like Chris Hazard, the hiking guy, says this all the time. Like, in the winter, San Jacinto Peak, which is like the second tallest mountain at like 10,834 feet, it's a true like mountaineering mountain. Like, it gets slammed with snow.
Which you did a couple weeks ago, and it's still under snow right now.
Yeah, as we're doing this recording, I'm literally looking at Mount Baldy, snow-capped.
Yep.
And Baden-Powell. Like, it is literal mountaineering season right now. Like, winter season has arrived. Like, people are going crazy up there. Hope everyone stays safe, you know, because it's a different world out there in the snow.
Yes, definitely.
But there's a few trails that go to San Jacinto Peak. You can do it via Marion Mountain, which is a very challenging ascent. It's like 13, 14 miles, 4,800 feet of elevation gain. I actually just did that recently. It beat me up. I forgot how hard it was. It was actually probably one of the hardest hikes I've done in a long time, but it's probably one of the most gorgeous trails in Southern California. And then you have Cactus to Clouds, where you start from the desert floor. You do the Skyline Trail first, and then you go into Long Valley, and you finish off the rest of the hike to get to the peak. But in regards to San Jacinto Peak, the specific trail I want to highlight there is actually the tram. You take the gondola from the desert floor, or the gondola / aerial tram, and you take it to Mountain Station, which drops you off at 8,500 feet.
Okay.
So it's already so much cooler up there. Because in Palm Springs, 2 hours east of LA, it is hot. So that contrast is so special. Like whoa, like it's so much cooler up here. You could have to wear a jacket. I love that specific route so much because it's like a full spectrum experience. You get in this gondola with your group or solo, and that's an experience all in and of itself because the tram rotates 360 degrees and it's playing music. So it's like warming you up. You're like, whoa, this is gnarly. And you get dropped off at the station and it inserts you into this high elevation forest. And you're like, whoa, like I was just in the desert floor. Now I'm in high up in the mountains, inserted in this forest. And then right before the peak, you got to do some like rock scrambling. Like it's massive boulders up there. You get to San Jacinto Peak, and my goodness, Juan, have you done San Jacinto?
I have not. It's
Oh my
one I
God.
want to do still.
John Muir, the famed conservationist, says it's the most sublime view. And I think the reason why he says that is because the immediate surroundings and environment of San Jacinto Peak isn't other mountains or peaks, it's the desert floor.
Yeah.
So you feel so dramatically high up. Like whenever I'm like, scrambling around the peak and up there, I'm just like, holy cow. That's the desert floor. I can see the windmills. Like it's unreal, dude. Like I remember when I first got up there, my jaw dropped. Like there's only been a few peaks where my jaw's like literally dropped. There's been many moments where I'm like in awe, but
Yeah.
jaw dropping is like once in a while, right? And so I got to say San Jacinto Peak via the tram.
Okay.
A third, I could so easily say Baldy just because I've been to Baldy like 25, Mount
And
Baldy.
you've done it from different routes, right?
So many different routes, so many different experiences. Even did my first trail run race this past year over there. Like I've done it, I've reached the summit over 25 times now.
Wow.
So I feel like I don't want to say it, but I'm just like, I feel like I have to say it too, like.
Well, I mean, technically, when you think about it, right, you got Baldy in the San Gabriel Mountains, Sandstone Peak obviously is one, Santa Monica Mountains, San Jacinto is a different mountain range,
This is right.
which I am spacing right now on what that mountain range is.
San Jacinto.
Is it San
Well,
Jacinto?
a part of it is in the San Bernardino Mountains. A small
Yes.
portion.
Small portion of it, but then when you do get deeper into it, it does change into a different mountain
Yeah, it's San
range.
Jacinto Wilderness, something like that.
And what was the other one that you had mentioned?
I said, San Jacinto Peak via the tram, Mesa Peak in the Santa Monica
Mesa Peak, that's
Mountains. I threw Sandstone Peak in there just because everybody
Oh yeah.
knows.
You have to.
Yeah, I mean, Mount Baldy, I just have so many insane memories there. Hiking in the snow, mountaineering up the Baldy Bowl, doing the Fool's Traverse Challenge, the 11 Peak Endurance Challenge. There's so many trails to experience Mount Baldy that you never get tired of it. You can remix it up so many different ways.
You also joined a collaboration between Outdoor Adventures Plus and Elements of Daisy.
Oh my
when she
God,
was
that's
running,
right.
What is it? Can't remember her group's name when she was hosting it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking. Wellness on the Trails.
Wellness on the Trails, and we hosted a trail run. So there was a different way to experience it too.
Juan, that group hike / trail run that you hosted with Elements of Daisy, that was insane. Like, that was such an epic day because we power hiked all the way to the summit,
Yes.
got to learn the techniques from Daisy about trail running. Running from the top of Mount Baldy Summit, our local Mount Everest stands at 10,064 feet, all the way down to the Notch restaurant was probably one of the most exhilarating outdoor experiences I've ever had, and also at the same time the most beat up I've ever felt in my life.
Definitely.
I felt
I
crippled.
mean, imagine, right? You start from from Mount Baldy. You're going down the small little switchbacks on scree, and it's a trail of scree. Like it's just ridiculous, right? I mean, very slippery or whatever. And then you get down to the base of Mount Harwood, and you're running on a very, very narrow trail. Then you're kind of going up and down, and then you finally get to that portion right before the Devil's Backbone, and you're running on another trail, very loose, and then you get to the Devil's Backbone and you're running across that, right?
Yeah, running that specific section is what's most exciting.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay, so you got Mount Baldy via.
Oh, gee. Okay, let me be more specific. Let
Yeah.
me think about this. So many ways to experience Mount Baldy. Okay, I'm gonna go classic. Mount Baldy, ascending via the ski hut / Baldy Bowl Trail,
Okay.
and then once you reach the summit, going down the Devil's Backbone to the top of the Notch restaurant, and then taking that fire road down.
Yeah.
Or you can take the ski lift down
Ski
if
lift,
you want to
yeah.
skip out on those 2.5 miles. That specific route, because it's a loop.
Yes.
and you get to experience the varied landscapes of the general Mount Baldy trail.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people do it as an out and back via the ski hut or that out and back via the Devil's Backbone.
Yeah.
That's totally fine. You know, I've done that as well too, but there's so many layers to Mount Baldy. Like, there's so many sections. There's the forest, there's creeks, there's waterfalls, there's steep ridge lines, there's the Devil's Backbone, there's other peaks, like there's Mount Harwood even there near Mount Baldy. Like, there's just so many layers to the Mount Baldy experience. I do want to show love to another peak that not a lot of people may know about. Maybe I'll just throw it as a runner-up to those
Okay.
three, if I'm allowed to.
Yeah. It's your show. But
Okay,
yeah,
all right.
But I am hosting, so I mean,
All right,
I'm gonna give you
put
that.
some boundaries on it.
Yeah, you go ahead. I'll give you.
I'll just
one.
mention it very briefly. Man,
An honorable mention.
Corkscrew Peak in Death Valley National Park. How do I even... Not many people know about this trail. It's not in the brochures, but it kind of reminds me of Rattlesnake Peak here in the San Gabriel Mountains, but it's out in Death Valley. It's just this really prominent peak. It's around like 7 to 8 miles, around 3,500 to 4,000 feet of elevation gain. And just the way I experienced that trail with Matt Kerr, my crewmate, was just so ridiculous. We just pulled up to the trailhead at like 2 p.m. I didn't even know we're supposed to do this big hike.
But I remember you telling me there wasn't even a trailhead. You park on the side of the road and start.
Yeah, there was no trail. He just said, okay, we're starting. I'm like, where's the trail? And he just pointed out into like the vast like emptiness of the desert, and there's just this huge mountain looking down at us. I'm like, am I in a Star Wars movie right now? And I think that trail just stood out to me so much because I felt like when we reached the peak, it was like grand isolation, like pure peace. There was no one on the trail. The views from the top were just unreal. Just, you can see the vastness of the desert, other landscapes in the distance. It was just like unreal, man. Like, there's so much sketchy parts to the top part too where you can scramble around. There was actually a register. Like, it was such a challenge to get there, but it was just so beautiful, the different sections you had to go through. And then going down during sunset hour, I really felt like I was living a Star Wars movie. Like, I was on like Tatooine. Like, there's so many photos we took where we're just like, dude, yeah, we're Jedis just hiking through the desert, or Sith Lords, you know? Like, Corkscrew Peak, if you're a peak bagger and you want a challenge and you want to do something like not many people know about, Corkscrew Peak in Death Valley. And I'll just stop there because there's also so many trails in the Eastern Sierra I could shout out. All right, there you go.
All right, so we went over all the three with the honorable mention. You had two honorable mentions, actually.
I'm cheating. I mentioned Sandstone Peak and Corkscrew Peak.
But either way, I mean, everything you mentioned, definitely hands down, whenever you guys get the opportunity, check out all these locations, all these trails. They're just so beautiful. But yeah, along with that, right, you know, you start leading, right, the Just Trek crew. And along the way, I'm pretty sure you start learning things, right, about the outdoors, what you need to carry with you. You know, you start learning hacks and tips and different things, right, from different people, from like the hiking guy or the modern hiker blog and all that. So you start looking at all these things. And so what are some of your hiking hacks or outdoor tips that you've learned that you want to share with the community?
Too many, man. It's like, how do I want to go about this? I'm going to share something really random off the bat. It's more of like a camping hack that I've actually been using this past year. I feel like it's been a game changer for me.
Let me guess.
What?
The cot.
Oh, that's actually, I'm glad you brought that up. So
Is that an
when I set up my
mention?
tent, that'll be an honorable mention. I feel like we're going to have several honorable mentions. Yeah, having a cot in your tent is such a hack. Like, you don't have to worry about the sleeping pad, like, or like the big foam pad on the ground. If you have a cot, which is basically like an elevated like chair bed, you know, it's off the ground, so you don't got to worry about how cold the ground is, you know, and you can stuff things underneath your cot in the tent. And I remember when we did the camping trip at the Central Coast, you're like, what are you putting in your tent? I'm like, just trust me, bro, you're going to want to do this too. And I put the cot in the tent, and you're like, oh, that looks solid. But actually, to go off of that, a big thing when you're like camping, I feel like, and you're in your tent, in the middle of the night especially, you wake up and you're like, I gotta go to the restroom really bad. Like, I gotta take a piss. And that can be a very like annoying moment because now you gotta get up. Now you
Yeah.
you're rustling around, you're waking people up to get to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the bathroom isn't that close. So it's a whole journey.
Yeah.
It's a whole like intentional, like I gotta get myself up now. I bought these disposable urine bags
Huh.
from Amazon.
Okay.
And you bring them in your tent. So if you wake up in the middle of the night and you gotta take a piss, man and woman, and assuming you don't have someone next to you that you're sleeping in the tent
Yeah.
with, you take a piss in these disposable urine bags and you go back to sleep. And now I don't got to go out of my tent, walk to the restroom, and like do all these things, find my slippers, like, and sometimes you're in a deep sleep. So when you wake up, you're like, oh, dude, this is going to be rough. Like, it's cold outside of my tent. Like, this is going to be terrible. So these disposable urine bags have been a game changer. Like, I know it sounds funny, but like, truly, like, when I do some of these camping trips, I'm like, it's so annoying to me to have to wake up in the middle of the night and keep going to the restroom. So there's a hiking camping hack that I didn't know I was going to
Okay.
share. Another hiking hack. Since I'm looking at my shoes right now, a common one, man. Like a lot of people make this mistake, which is why I'll highlight it. Always get half a size up or a full size up of your true size.
Yes.
But more specifically, because I get so many friends who ask me, what shoes should I get? And I'm like, this, different brands fit people's feet many different ways. They're
Mm-hmm.
cut differently. The best way to go about it is go into your local REI store or outdoor gear store and just literally try on different brands. And then even from there, you can order it online
Yeah.
because there's no better experience than going in person, trying the actual shoe you want to try, the different sizes, and also at the REI store, there's literally like how do I describe this? There is a little stair, a rock stair that you can
Oh,
test
yeah, yeah,
out the
yeah,
shoes
yeah.
on. Like,
I've seen that.
it's really short. It's only like 4 steps,
Mm-hmm.
but you can kind of like feel how the shoe is on the trail almost. So you can see how like it feels like when you're going up the incline and down the
Down.
decline and how it bends.
Yeah.
So that's a big hack actually that our local REI stores have is testing out the actual footwear, on this like makeshift like rock stairs. Another hiking hack. A lot of people don't know how to calculate how much water to bring on the trail
Oh,
all the time.
yeah.
I think it's for every
It's every hour, isn't it?
it's like, God, see, I'm gonna butcher this, and it's such an important thing to say. I think it's for every 2 hours of hiking, you bring 1 liter of
1 liter of
water.
water. There you go.
And how do you know how long a hike is? All Trails shows you an estimated time, which is an
Yes.
incredible app. Hiking or outdoor blogs give you estimated time. So based on how long a hike is, let's say it's a 6-hour hike.
Yeah.
So for every 2 hours, you bring 1 liter of water. So that would mean you bring a minimum of 3 liters of water.
Yeah.
So that's one way to go about it.
And
I
if
think
you're a slower hiker, then bring extra because you're going at a slower pace. You're going to, but it also depends, I guess, on the weather, right? If it's
that's
a
the other
hot
thing.
day,
If it's very hot,
yeah,
you bring extra.
yes,
Maybe another liter or another half liter, really depends. So that's one way to calculate your water. And then me personally, we all have different preferences. I love the hydration bladder, the hose that hangs over your backpack because it's just easy to access. You can just like sip out of it. Oftentimes you'll see people like with these on
yeah,
their water bottle sleeves, and I still bring this too. But it's hard if you don't have a hydration bladder to like grab in you have to stop, put the backpack down,
ask
grab the
someone, hey, can you
water,
grab my water?
drink the water, put it back. But if you have the hydration bladder with the hose, you can be hiking up the steepest hill and sipping your water and then just put it down. That's it.
Well, there's actually a new hack though.
What?
So I don't know who it is that created it, but somebody created uh, a system that screws onto the top of the Nalgene bottles now. and it has a hose.
No way.
So you basically screw it on, like on the cap. You
Yeah, yeah,
screw the
yeah.
cap on, and you have a hose now that pulls over your shoulder.
See, the ingenuity. I feel like all the outdoor gear just keeps getting better and better. They're just trying to solve simple problems, right?
Yeah.
Also, now that I'm looking at this, y'all might be like, that's a cute little water bottle you got,
Nope.
Justin Justroc. There's a reason I carry this. This is like a 400, this is a 400 milliliter Nalgene water bottle, or 14 ounces.
Yeah.
The reason I carry this specific size is because it's the exact amount for all those electrolyte powders.
Yes.
Because it needs to be like a certain ratio for it to be like work the best.
Yeah.
So I pour my liquid IV in here, whatever other electrolyte powders or sticks there are, put it in here. It's the right amount of water already. Shake it up, boom.
And you're the reason why I purchased a small one like that.
Oh wow!
Because we were
Yeah.
here one time, and I was overheated. I was feeling
I remember
sick.
that. Yeah, yeah.
And I remember we stopped down. It was like way down below Inspiration Point, and I sat down, and you busted yours out, put a liquid IV, shook it up. You're like, here, drink this. And I was like, the whole time I was just thinking, I was like, I need one of these little bottles. So when I went to REI, I got a little bottle because,
yeah.
and I do carry it with me, and I carry extra sticks of I use Salud, which is a good electrolyte. And I mean, for those who like Mexican, like, aguas frescas, so good. You guys got to try that. But I always keep extra, one for, a few for myself and a few for others who, in case, go through the same thing and need that.
Yeah.
And that little bottle is a game changer.
Yeah, this cute little bottle, there's a reason it's that certain size. I actually learned this from Cisco Hiker Fighter and the Mountaineers. I saw this dangling from his pack with a carabiner on the bottom near his ropes. And I was like, why does he have that specific,
Why that size?
why that size,
Yeah.
And I asked him, he's like, oh, this is where I put like my powders and like supplements. I'm like, oh, and then I looked at the liquid IV stuff and what they recommend the amount of water you're supposed to mix it. I was like,
That's
it's
exactly
the same.
what you need, yeah. So that's your honorable mention. So you got in a lot of honorable mentions.
I mentioned too many already.
But okay, so hiking hacks, outdoor tips. First one was your pee bags.
Disposable urine bag, y'all.
Disposable urine bags, right? Secondly, you mentioned, shoes. Shoes are very important. See, our
gear.
ultras, you'll notice that they have a wider toe box than people who have flatter feet or like their toes to kind of be able to spread, right? A lot of trail runners use these. I've used Merrell's as well. And some people like trail runners. Other people prefer hiking boots. So it's entirely up to you what you decide to use. But like Justin said, like make sure you go into your local store and try them on and see what fits your foot. See if you like it. Some people like wearing Hokas because Hokas are like, you're literally running on clouds. They got such a thick sole, and inner sole that's very cushioned, but it's all up to you. We're looking for sponsors. So all of the people we mentioned, if you want to, kick down.
Hook it up. I mean, we have been hooked up.
Yeah.
But we want to get rehooked up.
Yeah, exactly. And then the last thing you mentioned was water, which is a very key thing, whether it's a bladder, whether the Nalgene bottles.
How to calculate it.
How to calculate it right. And also calculate your weight. There's another way of doing it. Like I myself have to drink, I think like 9 of those 16-ounce bottles a day to be hydrated. And I think you have to divide that by, you do something with your, like half of your weight, and you divide it by something else, and it'll break it down. Look it up online. You'll find it. But water, and then your honorable mention, your little 14-ounce Nalgene bottle is a game changer. We'll definitely recommend you guys pick one of those up at your local REI. Definitely, it comes in clutch, especially when your friend is dying and overheating and whatnot. But yeah, so
this sunset, y'all, sorry if you see me looking in the back. It is ridiculous right now, which is why we chose this recording. There is a sea of clouds, peaks behind us. and the sun is probably going to set in the next 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Unreal.
And so, kind of transitioning, and before we lose light, I want to ask you some of these questions. And how would you say, how has the outdoor community shaped you over the years?
How has the outdoor community shaped me over the years? Jeez, got to hit me with that one, huh?
I wanted to get in the feels a little bit, because you've created something through this platform, who've brought people such as myself and others that we've mentioned, and other people who have joined us, and I'm the one in control of it right now. So I
Hmm.
got to ask you these questions, because we got to let the people know.
How has the outdoor community shaped me over the years? Man, it's been so life changing, dude. Like, the outdoor community has allowed me to reinvent myself.
Okay.
And I think that's such an important thing in life as you get older, is learning how to reinvent yourself to keep becoming your more authentic self. You know, like I mentioned prior, like I came from the dance world, the dance community, events, you know, and you wonder like what else is out there that I could get into to really like feel passionate about and feel alive,
Mm-hmm.
you know? The outdoor community has just blessed me with some of the greatest memories of my life, sharing these trails with so many strangers who have become such incredible friends, lifelong friendships, or even if it's for a blip in time, meeting those people is just like always very memorable to me. They are some of the most giving people, like I feel like outdoor community, hikers, like they look out for each other, like they truly do. Like whenever we're out on the trails, for the most part, people, if they see you in distress or they see a situation happening or if you need help or rescue, like people will give as much as they can oftentimes to help you get through the day or help save you. So I think like the outdoor community has just really taught me like to always look out for one another.
Mm-hmm.
Even for people you may not know as well, like when we're out there, just to like be very self-aware of your surroundings and other people. Yeah, it's probably one of the most special communities I've ever been a part of or ever just observed. It's people that are like out in the wilderness, like I feel like outdoor people are also just much more grounded. I feel like when I meet all these people, they're also just better quality humans because they spend extensive time in nature. They have more mental clarity in their life, or they're trying to reach that and become better people.
Yeah.
The outdoor community has just taught me so much.
Okay.
Hope that answers a
No,
bit of the
yeah,
question.
definitely. And segueing into the next question, with the people and the milestone, right? What is this? What does this milestone mean to you on a personal level?
When you pour your heart and soul into something, man, you can get far. When you truly believe in something and you love it, you love the process, that's what really keeps you going. There's been so many times when I wanted to stop the podcast. I was just like, is it worth it anymore? I felt like I've had a good run, but then I had to just get back to my roots of like, why do I do this? Like, why do I want to amplify other people's voices? Why do I want to share my stories? And it's because like this whole hiking and outdoor transformation has been so life changing. And to reach, I'm still processing your question. Can you repeat it one more time?
What has this journey taught you about yourself? Like, what is like on a what this milestone means to you on a personal level?
Yeah. Okay. So also like I'm pretty damn resilient. Even if I may feel like in the mental dumps about it at times or just certain things in my life, it's that I'm resilient, that I can keep rebuilding myself back up, that there's so much out there for me still. I have so much potential left to unlock. Like reaching this milestone, like hopefully it's another cheers to another 100.
Yeah.
Reaching this particular milestone means a lot. Like yes, we've hit anniversaries year to year, but like reaching 100, it took me 5.5 years to get here. Each episode, has connected me with a different individual that I've learned from. So I like take each part of that person, I feel like, along with me in the journey moving forward.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's their perspectives on life, what they've gone through, you know. Am I going to hit another 100 again? You know, like, I don't know what's going to happen further down in my life, but I just know, like, this this podcast, this show, this community that has rallied around the show has just meant the world to me, because the guests, the listeners, like, y'all are the reason this is even like still happening. Like, I don't have to necessarily hear it, but hearing that feedback from guests and listeners, it's really so remotivating, you know. So yeah, just that I'm resilient, and that as long as I stay focused at the task in hand, I can get as far as I want in life. I just have infinite potential.
Yeah. There's a tenacity behind what you do.
Yeah.
And I think, one of the things that we always conversate about and talk about is, when you're intentional with what you do, the end product is it's always rewarding, just like a sunset.
And on that moment, let's observe this last 10 seconds of the light.
Yeah, let's.
And this is what I'm talking about. Like, when I see this kind of landscape, and I get to experience like the vastness of nature, man. Like, dude, infinite potential. I feel about like myself and how far I can go. Man, look at that light just hitting above.
That is gorgeous, man. I'm loving all that. The sea of clouds.
Creeping into the canyons. We have a whole mountain peak range right behind us.
And if you look off into the distance, everybody's watching. That's the Channel Islands back there.
And I'll take off my sunglasses so y'all can see us
Yeah.
even more. Behind the camera, we see people at Sandstone Peak taking a bunch of photos, just enjoying the day. Like, it's been a perfect day thus far. And oh my God, there are cotton candy skies
Yeah.
behind the camera. Dude, I don't think we could have picked a better day for this recording. This is nuts. I wish we could like pano real quick. Oh, sorry,
Man.
but please go ahead before we start losing more light.
Yeah, I know. Before we start losing
Because
light,
I've done this podcast a few times in the dark at the end.
With everything going on, the questions you've answered already, if there was an outdoor experience that you could relive all over again, what would that experience be?
That experience would most definitely have to be my one-day hike of Mount Whitney, the 22-mile day hike. That journey, that day, was probably one of the most overwhelming and most beautiful days of my life. And I say that because when I did Mount Whitney with my group, I was back in July 2020, I think.
Okay.
And at that particular time, there was a lot of snow on the mountain still, but it was just clear enough where it wasn't a mountaineering route, but there was still like a lot of sketchy sections. Like,
Yeah.
you needed your micro spikes, you needed your hiking poles. There were some parts where I was like crawling on my knees, because of some of the ice. And it was like the contrast of having all the snow and the dryness of Mount Whitney, I never get out of my mind, because you have to think, when there's snow on the mountain during the day, the sun is hitting it, and now there's streams coming down the mountain the entire way I'm ascending. And I'm like, where am I right now? Like, just some of the most gorgeous, dramatic, like, nature scenery I've ever seen in my life, on top of already how dramatic Mount Whitney is.
Yeah.
As you know, you've been up there
Yeah.
too. It's the tallest mountain in the lower 48 states. So many like iconic sections, the 99 switchbacks, trail crest, but like just seeing how the landscape was just like showing off that day, like I couldn't get over it. I'm like ascending the 99 switchbacks and some of the stairs like right after trail camp, and there's just streams coming down. And it's like reflecting off like the lakes nearby, and I'm just like, where am I? I'm like in Disneyland, like I just couldn't get over how like striking it was. And that sunrise at trail camp, man, it was probably one of the most gorgeous sunrises I've ever seen. And I guess also just, well, it's an interesting day for me too, because I want to live that day because it was also so like, it didn't seem real. Like everything that happened in the day was like out of a movie. A girl in our group got helicoptered out.
Yeah.
Obviously, like, I don't want to relive it so that I
Yeah.
remember that portion and how that flipped our day upside down and how we had to hike in the dark for 4 hours and how we were so worried about about our friend getting her off the mountain safely and having to call search and rescue. But like, I almost feel like I just want to remember that day how it was, and I just want to relive it because like it was just like, not to say it was perfect, but like the way it all kind of like unfolded was just like, are you kidding me? From like the beauty of the landscape to how intense it felt at times and wondering how we're gonna get our friend off this mountain. Like it just felt like one long movie. And I always dream back to that day. And a lot of people are like, why haven't you been back to Mount Whitney? And like, it's funny you asked me this question. It's like, what hike do you want to relive? Like you could easily go back, but like
Yep.
I want to just relive it in my mind. Like it was just like the way I remembered it and experienced it. I don't know how a future trek there could like outdo it.
Yeah.
So I almost
Exactly.
like wanted to leave that experience of that day like untouched,
Yeah.
but relive it in my mind, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Because you have that snapshot in your head of how, you have that file in your brain that basically just, you have that. And it's like, in all honesty, I mean, when you really look at it, right, every trail you do, it doesn't matter how many times you do it. Sandstone Peak, I've experienced it so many ways. First time, it was 80 degrees during the summer, it was hot. Second time I came, it was a group hike that you were hosting. Sunset was beautiful. First time ever experiencing it. And I found my seat up there. And then it's over and over. You do it with big groups, small groups. You do it when it's springtime. You do it in the fall, like right now, right? But it's always it's a different experience because the people that you surround yourself with. And in that sense, you had your friend who got injured, yourself, and there was another person, right?
Yeah, we were on my friend Kay, the petite trekker. It was her permit. She was the leader of the group. It was the six of us, and it was her friend that had to get helicoptered out. It was very unfortunate, but
Yeah.
man,
So
you look back, you're like, that was wild. Like we were actually part of a group where a person got
yeah,
helicoptered out. Also, just like summiting that mountain, like I know we talk about Mount Whitney a lot on this podcast, but it was just like such a special day because it was months and months of training leading up to that moment, doing the 6 Pack of Peaks challenge here in Southern California to prepare your body in a way to hopefully summit, and you never know with that particular mountain. You don't know if the mountain weather gods are going to grant you
nope,
the
you
right
don't.
passage, and you don't want to mess with it
Yeah,
either because up there it's extreme. It's a 14,000 foot mountain. So if I had to say, if there's one hiking or outdoor experience, like it would have to be that Mount Whitney day, man. It was just so many different feels about it. So many things happened, like that I'm not even mentioning right now. Like it was like a comedy show. It was like a drama. It was just like one of the most unreal like days out on any mountain or trail in my life. Is just like, and some of my most gorgeous photos I've ever taken my hiking journey are from Mount Whitney. Like it literally looks like,
well, yeah. There's a photo that I remember reading after reading your blog was
yeah,
the picture from Trailcrest.
yeah.
That
There's
photo
a
was
bunch.
just out of this world. You're like, what? Like, where's this at?
Yeah, I got to give love to Kay Tressa, the petite trekker. She's the one who took those photos. I'm like, are you a photographer, Kay? Because this light and angle you got was like, you killed it.
Yeah. All right, man. I think we're gonna wrap it up.
Oh, okay.
So
We're at the end already, huh?
we're at the end of it, and well, you know what time it is, right?
I think I do.
I think you know you do.
I hope I do.
So are you ready for the rapid fire question section?
Let's get it, man.
Are you ready, Rocksteady?
I'm ready, rock
I've
steady
always
as I'll
wanted to say
ever
that,
be.
believe it or not.
How did it feel?
It felt great.
Did you
Yeah.
feel cool saying it?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So
Yeah.
I could finally say that I've accomplished something on my bucket list in life, and now I could say I've said it.
You can ride
So,
off into the sunset.
are you ready, Rocksteady?
Ready, rock steady.
All right. So here we go. Now he's in the hot seat, guys.
This is the first time this has
This
ever
is the
happened.
first time ever happening right
I'm
here on the
excited.
100th episode of the Just Trek podcast. All right, here we go. Obviously, you know that there's two sections of it. First rapid fire section is the outdoor section, and the second part of it is a more personal, more personal questions.
This is so funny hearing it from you. Like, I'm literally tripping out right now. I'm like, I'm really on the hot seat.
Yeah, you are.
Okay.
All right, you could answer with short, concise answers, or you can elaborate on some things. But we're gonna try to keep it as short as possible. So here's the first one: your favorite trail snack.
Dried mangoes.
Oh yeah, you can never go wrong with dried mangoes. Um, Trail runners or hiking boots?
Trail runners, baby. I used to be a hiking boot person, and then rugged trail runners.
Okay. Desert or deserted island?
That's a hard one.
You see, it doesn't feel nice, does it?
Desert. Desert.
Are you sure? Is that your final answer?
No, deserted island.
Okay. Deserted island,
For the record.
for the record.
Sorry,
Yep, see,
LA. I
that's
know
all-
you're a desert.
Waterfalls or lakes?
Lakes. Alpine lakes.
Alpine lakes, a must. Yes, definitely. Favorite camping meal?
Favorite camping meal. We got spoiled on this camping trip, so I'll never forget this. Matt Kerr, our crewmate, he made this like Thai curry, like for a camp, and I was just like, "Are you kidding me right now?" Like, I'm not to say that I have that all the time, but like, man, whenever Matt's, on your camping trip and he's cooking up something, man, just try it. Like, that curry was bomb.
Yep, he definitely brings some good stuff.
Tacos are always incredible too. Shout outs Rudy, Liquid Fox, those camp tacos,
Camp tacos are a must.
Central Coast were pretty incredible.
Let's see, dawn or dusk?
Gotta say dusk since we're here at dusk.
Yeah, and I honestly I think dusk is going to be a forever answer but then unless you're going up the 99 switchbacks to Trail Crest, and then you get sunrise. So I don't know.
Yeah, just something about like seeing the sky, after the sunset. Like, that's a whole other part of the trek.
Well, like you were saying, you're like, man, these cotton candy skies, like, they're gone now.
They're gone now.
But okay, so rock scrambling or surfing loose scree?
Rock scrambling, baby.
Mountain lions or grizzly bears?
Mountain lions.
Music artists you want to hike with?
Oh, I didn't think about this one. Oh. This is so hard. Oh, jeez. Music artists I want to hike with. Man, this is really hard, but I'm just going to say an answer off the top of my head. Rakim.
Wow.
Rakim, the greatest lyricist of all time. Don't sweat the technique. I'm just like, if I hiked with him, it would just feel like I just imagine him just like spitting bars, as we're reaching the peak and just describing everything in his like cadence and tone.
Wow.
Like, yo,
this
is so dope, bro. Don't sweat the technique.
That is like, I don't know, by far I think it's probably one of the coolest answers I've heard. Like, that is, yeah.
Hip hop.
There's one for the record right there.
Greatest rapper.
Favorite outdoor brand at the moment?
Ooh, at the moment. I've been really liking Topo Designs a lot, and Rourke.
Oh, Rourke's good.
R-O-A-R-K.
Yeah.
Yeah, as of lately, I've had a lot of like favorite outdoor brands that I've also got to work with, like loved Cotopaxi for the longest time.
Yeah.
But it's cool like getting more familiar with other brands. So at the moment, I would say Topo Designs and Rourke.
Okay.
I'm wearing a Cotopaxi jacket right now.
National park you want to visit that you have not visited?
North Cascades National Park.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
What's the one in Oregon? Is that Glacier or Crater?
Oregon.
Sorry, I keep feeling like I keep wanting to throw honorable mentions. Let's just say North Cascades.
Okay. North Cascades for the record. In one word, how does hiking make you feel?
How does hiking make me feel? It makes me feel. Why am I having such a hard time with this question?
Because it's hard.
Dang, I thought I would be able to answer this question really fast. How does hiking make you feel?
I think it
Oh,
comes, yeah,
it's simple. I mean, really reframes my perspective, but just like grateful.
grateful for the record. Um, what's your ideal outside temperature?
60, 60.
60.
And I say 60 because I'm such a light jacket weather kind of
Okay.
person. I love wearing my light jackets and windbreakers. It's like 60 is just like cold
It's like
enough.
on the cusp of cold, but still like
Yeah,
a little warm.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. 60 for the record.
All right. Favorite piece of outdoor gear you own?
Favorite piece of outdoor gear I own. What is outdoor gear? It could be a camping chair, it could be my pack,
It could be pants, it could be shoes.
pants, shoes.
Um, yeah, anything, basically.
At this moment, I'm really loving my Topo Designs Rover Trail Pack. Yeah, that's my favorite piece. It's like a new day pack I have, and it's just
Okay.
got so much cool bells and whistles, and it looks super fresh too. Like I just love the designs of Topo
Well, they have,
Designs.
yeah, they have some pretty amazing colorways.
Yeah, the Rover
Like,
Trail Pack is my favorite piece of outdoor gear right now. It's got these cool straps, the color, the color design of mine in particular. It's dope.
he's a trail influencer, guys. Okay, that's why he's leaning towards that. So if you see him out there with it, you know why.
Much love, Topo Designs. Appreciate y'all.
Um,
They've shown a lot of love this past year.
all right, let's
So.
see. I'm gonna get some water before we move on to the
Oh my
next.
goodness, you doing that to me?
Before the next section of questions. Un traguito de agua.
We got a half moon above us. We got,
Yeah.
man, dude, the sea of clouds after sunset here is kind of like a dreamscape. Like, look at that.
I'm looking at this too. It's like you could literally walk off the ridge of the mountain right on top of the clouds. But of course, we know that's physically impossible because, well, you'll fall through it. All right, so you ready?
I'm ready.
You ready, rock
Ready,
steady?
rock, steady.
There we go. Rapid fire personal questions. Favorite comfort food?
Pizza, but chicken margarita
I
pizza.
was about to say,
Oh, you thought I was gonna say that?
I thought you were going to say margarita pizza because of
No
your stay
way.
in Italy when you had
Oh,
mentioned that before.
wow, you're a good friend. You remember that.
All right, so, okay, so favorite cartoon show growing up?
Oh, Charlie Brown, Peanuts Gang.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my all-time favorite cartoon show. Was that the name of it? The Charlie Brown, or is it called
No,
Peanuts?
Peanuts, I think, is like the whole, but I think it's just, is it?
Yeah, it's Charlie Brown something
Charlie
something.
Brown
Yeah, the
and
Charlie Brown
Friends or
cartoon
whatever,
show.
yeah. Okay. Um,
Yeah, because Snoopy's my all-time favorite character.
yeah. You know, they have you should get it tattooed. It's a Ranger Snoopy. He's got a little hat and a little scarf.
That's what I'm gonna be for Halloween
There
next
you
year.
go. What's your hidden talent? Other than b-boying.
Hidden talent.
I love that he's in the hot seat.
Man, this is hard, man. Well, before I was a dancer, well, it wasn't so hidden. Well, not a lot of people know this about me. So I was a pretty hardcore soccer player growing up, but a talent of mine, I actually was the captain of this other sport for a few years. Hidden talent that I haven't really been doing lately, but was definitely hidden. Playing rugby.
Oh.
I was the captain of the rugby team. I was the scrum
Dude,
half
you
for
got
2 years.
yeah, you got this. You got the build for a rugby player.
I
Yeah,
for sure
hands
do.
down for sure. This dude's tiny and stout. This dude, I guarantee you, if I stand there and I tell him to truck me, he'd run me over.
Yeah, I can't be singing. I mean, I joined the choir, but I don't want to say I'm that great. Yeah, we'll go with
Okay.
playing rugby player.
Rugby for the record. What type of music? Um, what type of music gets you dancing the most right now?
House music for life, man. House music is timeless. Yeah,
Yeah, I could agree.
it'll carry through all my years, even when I'm 100 years old. I'll still be hitting the dance floors to house music.
If you could be any animal, what would you be?
A raven.
A raven.
I was a raven for the first time ever for Halloween. It was probably one of the most ridiculous costumes ever. Vic from LA Trail Killers was like, dude, that raven mask is so real looking. He was like, he wouldn't be surprised if a bunch of ravens started like plucking at my head or like coming
I do
nearby.
remember seeing pictures of that. Okay. Raven for the record. If you could travel back in time, what period would you go to?
Oh man, when hip hop was born in the Bronx.
Beginning of the 80s.
Yeah, just to be there, like at the genesis of like a passion and an art form that I've loved for so long, that being hip hop and breaking slash breakdancing, that would have been the dopest time ever because it was about the DJs, it was about the dancers
It's
going to
everything.
the parties. You know, that movement came out of a really rough time in people's lives. It was counterculture.
Yeah.
You know, it came from like, breaking came from people going through hardships in life, escaping the harsh realities of the inner city, and
Yeah.
they created something so beautiful,
Exactly. Yeah. It's definitely that's a great period to go back to. That's where that's where the five elements of hip hop were born.
Oh, you said five
B-boy.
elements. You didn't even say four
No, I
elements.
said five.
All right, you're getting a little deep here,
I'm just
Juan,
saying.
just because you're our
Okay.
hip hop aficionado,
But
graph writer too.
b-boying, graph, DJing, MCing, and even beatboxing. Beatboxing was it was a whole different thing too. But yeah, that era of time, man, what it would have been to get up on some of those subway cars back then, and what I know now, and I'm like, yep.
You beatbox and I freestyle. That's my other hidden talent back in college.
All right, so describe yourself in 3 words.
Oh no. Passionate, playful, passionate, playful. Can I go for another P?
Yeah.
I don't know. Passionate, playful, um, empathetic.
So those are some good words right there. Okay. And the last question: what's your favorite sound?
And I always love asking people this question. Now it's my turn. There's something about the wind, but the wind on a ridge, it makes me
Oh,
feel alive. Like sometimes when I'm like on the devil's backbone where it's windy or I'm like a high elevation ridge and the wind sweeping through, but it's not like too powerful but just enough. I love that sound because it makes my body feel alive and it also just makes me realize like I'm really up here with the elements. So although to a lot of people it may not seem like this like soothing sound,
yeah.
it kind of is to me in a weird way. Like it makes me really feel like I'm out in the wilderness. And then when I'm on a ridge, especially if it's like narrow, it just makes me feel alive. Almost like if I put my hands out, I can lean into it. And then just hearing that power of nature just like going through the landscape, like hearing wind is like, I don't know, something about it that I really enjoy.
It's a part of every element. With fire, it feeds it.
Mm-mm.
With the ocean, it breezes over and it makes the waves crash, and it's a part of everything.
It makes me feel like I'm about to be on an adventure. Like
Yeah.
when I hear and feel the wind.
All right, man. So you completed the rapid round section for the first time on your own. And at this point of the podcast, we like to turn it back around and ask the guest, to leave some final words for the audience. So the floor is yours, brother.
Man, I just want to throw it back to the community. You know, being that this is the 100th episode milestone, thank you so much to each of the guests that have ever graced this show and platform. You know, even if we haven't kept in touch or I haven't seen you, you all were a part of the journey. And I've learned so much from the guests, from their origin stories, their platforms. There's just so many incredible people out there doing incredible things and making an impact in people's lives. To the listeners, the people that give feedback, that tune in on a weekly basis or monthly, or whatever frequency you've listened to the show, thank you for taking the time to lend your ears and give me a chance. And I didn't come from a traditional journalism background or radio. Podcasting was just something I started because I was passionate about the outdoors and hiking and our local trails. And just to grow into being an outdoor podcaster has been so special. So that community of listeners, y'all have held me down so much throughout the years. I can't tell you, whether it's the emails or the Instagram DMs or social media DMs in general, some of you have sent some really powerful stuff where I'm just I felt seen, I felt supported, I felt heard, and I am forever grateful for a lot of those messages and feedback. And also, if you were also giving me feedback, critical feedback, to help me along my journey, I also am very grateful for that too. That's how I grew into a better outdoor podcaster. Grateful for you, Juan. Thank you for doing this reverse episode. I couldn't think of anyone more perfect than you to facilitate this conversation and throw the questions back at me. Yeah, just to the general, outdoor community, just keep on trekking. I always say progression is progression no matter what the pace. Keep that in mind, because a lot of us compare ourselves to each other, especially in this age of social media. It's so quick to be so rough on yourself. Learn to be gentle and kind with yourself. We are all on different paths at different paces, but that's why I say, as long as you're progressing, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter how slow or what that pace is. To the friends and family, that rocked with me from the beginning, from starting the hiking group to starting the podcast, you all were probably very shocked to see me dive into this whole other space, coming from, throwing events and parties and doing the whole dance community thing, battling, performing, that whole realm of my life that I'm still very tethered to. Like, you're probably all shocked, how this outdoor transformation, hiking transformation came about. But I hope maybe this story inspires you that it's never too late to reinvent yourself and to dive into new passions and interests that can potentially change your life. I think it's important to shed off the old skin and older versions of yourself in order to progress further in life. I think oftentimes we get caught up with older versions of ourselves that we are no longer. And that's what really happened with me for a long time. I was clinging on to parts of myself that I was no longer it wasn't relevant, or I wasn't doing that thing in that space, but I was just holding on to it because it made me feel a certain type of way and it made me feel good, but it was no longer really who I am. I also challenge you all, and not to get it too deep, we all do these activities and passions and we say I am this, I am that, I am a hiker, I am a soccer player, I am whatever you highly identify yourself as. I challenge all of you to think that these identities or things that you closely cling to are only extensions of who you are. It's not who you are.
Exactly.
I think that's so important in life because, if you're just going through it and you're saying, I'm a hiker, I live and die by this, or I'm a dancer, I'm a b-boy, this is who I am, this is my world, that's cool, that's fine, I get it. You have to super highly identify with something in order to get really good at it or to get far in life. But the more you just get wiser and older, like just understand like these are just extensions of who you are. It's not who you are. And I think it's more healthy to describe yourself in affirmations.
Yeah.
I am creative. I am resilient. I am empathetic. I am strong. So you can keep learning to keep rebuilding yourself over and over and over again. That's my 2 cents.
And you guys heard it here first on the 100th episode of the Just Trek podcast. So before we wrap this special 100th episode up, I just want to say this. Today wasn't just about, reaching a number. It was about honoring the heart behind it. For years, you've used this platform to amplify other people's stories and uplift the outdoor community and create a space where people feel inspired to finally you know get their turn, to be behind the mic with you hosting it. And today we finally got to do this in reverse and towards you, towards the vision, the consistency, and the purpose that built Just Trek. So for me and everybody else who's watching and will hear this, thank you for being more than a host. Um, Thank you for being a leader in this community, a curator of this community, a brother, and someone who generally wants to see others win. The trails are better because of you. The community is stronger because of you. And to everyone listening, we want to thank you guys for riding with the Just Trek crew for 100 episodes. Here's to the next 100 and more stories, more mountains, more connection, and even more moments that remind us why we trek in the first place, right? So this has been a reverse episode of the Just Trek podcast, celebrating the journey of the one who's been guiding it all along. So we'll catch you guys on the next one. So keep pushing forward, keep exploring, and as always, Just Trek crew, and
What
we're
it
out.
do? Ah, amazing.
Oh, man.
Thank you, bro.
Man, brother.
I love you. Thank you so
Love you
much.
too, brother.